Got it.
Okay, we're back
That
on.
wasn't on.
We're back live. Okay, we're going to start this over again. I'm going to do all this stuff, so I'll be okay. I want to welcome everyone and thank you for being here today for our second stop of cleaning environment. Blah blah blah. Cleaning environment. I have tongue tied. Do you realize I have listened to this stupid thing over and over again? But anyways, okay, I'm just going to read. Welcome everyone and thank you for being here today for Speaker Tour Stop number 2 of Cleaning Conversations with Jenny Made Real Talk with a Pro Cleaner. My name is Jennifer Fitzwater and I'm founder of Cenever Environmental Solution and Jenny Made, which I said that backwards, but you get the picture. And we're working together to provide a proprietary residential cleaning service focused on whole home environment and a higher standard of whole home environmental care. And I'm also the host of today, believe it or not, a live episode, embarrassing episode, of Cleaning Conversation with Jenny Made, Real Talk with a Pro Cleaner. And today we're going to be discussing a topic that I believe is becoming increasingly important as more and more people are becoming interested in healthier indoor environments, okay? The air quality and the overall condition of the spaces where we live, work, and play, okay? Our topic today, that being, is environmental hygiene, what it is, why it matters, and how it can become a useful part of your home, business, or facility. Now, before we begin, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. Now, if I can't get this right, we're done. So anyways, and I have 47 years in the cleaning industry, okay, across multiple sectors, and within the cleaning industry. So my experience is in healthcare, hospitality, commercial spaces, residential homes, food service and restaurants, and many others. Okay, I've done multiple, when I say multiple sectors within the cleaning service itself, then I'm talking about, like say, real estate, post-construction, stuff like that. So I've had a lot of experience. Not so much talking, but this is my first attempt at being a public speaker, so just bear with me. But anyways, when I have found, after all this, I have worked in environments, and through those experiences, I began noticing something important. Cleaning isn't only about appearances, it's about the environment around us. And it's about what we're touching and what settles onto our surfaces, what moves through the air around us, and how these things impact our everyday lives, because let's face it, I mean, this is how we get sick, is what's going to happen if we don't watch our environment. So this is what the realization came, that I ultimately went and leaned toward this topic and started studying it. And it's a very important topic in my opinion. Today, we're seeing more and more companies navigate toward the healthier indoor environment space, okay? Some are focused on like indoor air quality, like your air ducts, your mold remediation, your humidity control, filtration systems, or surface cleaning and environmental care. Okay, this is since COVID, because we're now looking at our environments. What has caused this? Well, how could this have happened to us in 2000 and we never, or 2020, and we never saw it coming? Well, because we weren't paying attention to our environments. And these services that I mentioned, okay, all serve a purpose because indoor environments are made up of many different pieces working together, okay, for the common good. But one thing that's important to understand is that healthier indoor environments are not usually created by a single solution, okay, because air matters, surfaces matter, environmental conditions matter, cleaning practices matter, and human behavior matters, okay? So with all that being said, you could think about it this way. If you focus on the air, okay, taking care of your air in your environment, like with an air purifier, and then you ignore everything else, you've improved one part of the environment while ignoring another, okay? So it's important to look at, as we do, we look at the whole healthier environment, not just one section of it. So that larger view that I just mentioned is why there's a lot of interest, and this is beginning to grow among our population. This is why. Now, before we talk about where environmental hygiene is going, let's look at where many of these ideas began. And this is really an eye-opener. Okay, in order to understand environmental hygiene, I want to get this right because this is the part that's really the bulk of the talk here. It helps to understand where many of these ideas came from. Long before people understood bacteria and viruses, people were noticing patterns. Okay, they observed that illness often spread in crowded environments. Sound familiar? COVID spread through a crowd. Okay, any kind of pandemic or anything, once you have something, it spreads like wildfire through people because they transfer it through coughing, sneezing, all kinds of things we'll discuss later. But they don't. But anyways, but they didn't know exactly why these were happening at the time. Then in the 1800s, there was a physician named Ignaz Semmelweis. Okay, he was responsible for noticing something unusual, and he found that mothers who gave birth in one ward of a hospital, then they were dying faster than in another ward. And the reason why is because he noticed that these doctors were going right from autopsies to patient care without washing their hands. So thus, you got somebody's blood on, from an autopsy or whatever, his instruments were unclean, and then he's caught touching somebody else, who may have a cold or something, and making the situation worse. So what he did was he was responsible for getting people to wash their hands with this chlorinated lime solution, and the death rate dropped dramatically among patients. And although many initially resisted his ideas, and I'll tell you one thing, antibacterial soap in the 90s, people were resistant to that because all this stuff came from a hospital setting. That's what we're talking here, is getting the hospital to you, okay? And that has happened over time. It's happened with hand washing. Now with Florence Nightingale, environmental cleaning. Environmental cleaning, she discovered that if you keep the place clean and deal with your environment, the air quality, the sanitation, the environmental cleaning practices, that your outcome for the patient is going to be far greater. And she was in the Crimean War when this happened. So the fact is that once she found that out, then her practices became mainstream in the hospitals because the outcome of the care of the patient was well better because the environment around the patient was better, okay? And with those things that I just talked about. Well, anyways, and then as science progressed and people understood microorganisms and they realized, okay, we're more or less working on ways to find out about the organisms. They discovered ways to reduce them, okay, which they did, and they used simple things like boiling water, heat, things like that, and then they also used chlorinated lime solutions, phenols, that was the other thing, and then they realized that was a good approach to, and later, of course, had advanced disinfecting methods. But over time, as everything grew, the hand hygiene, hands, we touch everything. That's the main thing, why things spread. Even during COVID, they were mentioning, don't touch this and touch your face because your ears, nose, and throat are all connected. So when you touch something, and it may have bacteria on it, most likely than not, unless you're in a plastic bubble, then you touch your face, you're exposing yourself because the bacteria gets in the open orifices of your body. That's how it spreads. So anyway, because you have membranes and everything like that. But anyways, as our understanding continued to grow, hand hygiene became one layer of protection, and environmental cleaning became the next layer of protection. But now the conversation expanded even further into what we now call environmental hygiene. The understanding of that people, surfaces, air movement, and environmental conditions and cleaning practices all interact in one space, in one environment. These things are going on. It's like a dynamic situation, okay, going on. So today we often think of these as separate topics, but historically they were all part of the same journey to one place, which is everything is under one thing. Okay, so you have that would be getting later in my speech about how your pathogens go and they will move from one thing to the other, how you're actually getting them into your space to begin with. But anyways, So after hearing about the history of hand hygiene, environmental cleaning, and the evolution of environmental hygiene, the next question becomes, what does this look like in a home today? Okay, so what it looks like in a home today for Jenny Maid is that we take care of the cleaning, which is the foundation, okay, of everything. We get rid of the dust, dirt, debris, everything that you can see with your eyes, okay, that is what Jenny Maid does. Then Sinevra, which is our disinfecting division, that is the environmental hygiene aspect of it, where it takes the environment as a whole and takes, supports what Jenny Maid is doing, okay, through whole room disinfection. But anyways, it's just like a broader view. But together they work hand in hand. Environmental cleaning creates the foundation by cleaning the environment, while environmental hygiene supports the overall environment through a whole room approach. So you can think of it this way, like hand washing. You wash your hands, then you add that extra layer of support with your alcohol, that gel, with a hand sanitizer. Okay, that is how this works, okay, in a synopsis. But anyway, so in a similar way, environmental cleaning and environmental hygiene can work together and complement each other for a healthier home environment. So that's what it looks like in a home, okay? You could be doing that, that. But for us, it's not, for Jenny Maid, it's not simply cleaning a house, it's about supporting the complete environment, because healthier spaces involve more than what we see. So, and that is becoming very apparent with these Ebola, hantavirus, COVID we just went through. I mean, there's stuff all around us, but it's not to scare you, it's to make you aware. There was I'll tell you a story about this one lady I cleaned for back in the mid-90s. Her husband had cancer, and they were looking all over for a cure for this lymphoma cancer, and they found one. But the problem is the FDA would not manufacture the drug because there wasn't enough people with this particular kind of cancer. This was on the University of Virginia. Well, anyways, they were told that you are to take care of your own health. You have to take your health in your own hands. Now, back then it didn't resonate with me as it does now, because it's so true. We got to watch our own health, and people are doing just that by eating better. They're getting into, and this environmental thing is just the topping. It's like the icing on the cake, okay? You have to do that too. You got to watch what you eat, what you put in your mouth, the ingredients. I mean, I'm a nutritional specialist and personal trainer too. I've done all that. I went to school. And so if you do that, then your body will stay healthy, but your environment, you also want to be healthy, so you're not bringing your microbial load, which is basically your bacterial stack. It's a level of bacteria that comes and builds up in a space. Well, if you want to lower that, okay, down, environmental hygiene is your answer, okay? Because whole room disinfecting, you clean the space, you disinfect everything in this room we can do in seconds, and basically reduce that microbial load, so that way then you will not get sick. It'll be a safe level, because there's such a thing as a safe level. You cannot get rid of 100% of your stuff, because as soon as it's done, somebody comes in and then the stack starts building again. Okay, so but you do want to keep that low. So our services are really needed, because that way, if you do them weekly, especially like in a bookstore, for example, you got constant foot traffic and everything, then your stack's gonna build lower than, say, your home, because you're only dealing with the same 4 people and maybe a few friends once in a while, okay, coming in. But anyhow, so now that we bit off that piece, now we're going to understand that, now that we understand that healthier indoor environments involve more than one factor, because they do, the next question becomes, how do bacteria, mold, virus, and fungus actually enter into our indoor spaces? So many people assume that they simply appear, but microorganisms usually are transported into environments through everyday activities, okay? First, people themselves. What you can bring it in on purses, clothing, shoes, a myriad of ways, okay? But backpacks or even pets, because pets go outside to go to the bathroom, they're bringing in stuff too, okay? Then you have floors and foot traffic. Now this is an eye-opener. Stanley Steamer did a test on floors, okay, and I just saw their commercial. They had tested like 100 floors, and they went back and they found fecal matter on every single one of them. And that is from the outside coming in. You can't avoid it. Even if you take off your shoes or something, your feet, you're still omitting something. Okay, this is why God's world, like God had a perfect world, and we're not in it right now. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, but anyways, the floors and foot traffic act like collection zones, like for dirt, dust, moisture, pollen, outdoor debris, and microorganisms are tracked inside from, everywhere, like sidewalks, your parking lots, your yards, workplaces, schools, and other public places like here. You walk in here, unless you've got those little shoe covers. One of my customers was a doctor, and he had shoe covers right outside his door. You weren't allowed to go in his house unless you put those on. Now I know why. I'm just telling you. I mean, these are things that, happen. But anyways, and then thirdly, aerosolization. Now, regular activities like vacuuming, making a bed, walking across a carpet, walking across a room. When you make a bed, you're going like this. Well, you're moving stuff around, okay? They go from one thing to the other. So whatever's in your house that you now just let in from, whether you open your windows, you walk in, whatever, you just are moving things around. And you don't know. And germs ride on dust, by the way. So anyways, that gets into air movement. So you have your heating. Then you have heating, and it sucks it all in and distributes it all over the place. I mean, this is crazy. It sounds like a scary movie. I mean, if you really thought about it, I mean, my gosh. But anyways, and then of course your moisture and water intrusion, like for mold and fungi, they love the cold, damp, dark. You heard that in science class, and it allows it to grow. But it just takes a small leak or humidity, damp materials, condensation, wet bathrooms, or water damage can create conditions where this growth becomes more likely. And 6 shared surfaces like your phone, your pens, your remote control, your light switches, your doorknobs, those are big ones. That's why hand hygiene is so important, because you got it. I mean, when I go clean, I have to wear gloves. I didn't do it for years because I didn't see the thing, but when I started reading this, oh my gosh, I'm wearing gloves, okay? I'm sorry to say, audience, but I'm not, I'm just not perfect. I mean, and I've been clean for 47 years. In the past 5 years, I've been wearing gloves. And I always use the excuse, well, I can't clean with gloves on, but no, you have to clean with gloves. Now that they have nitrile gloves, which are, those exam gloves, those are really good to have. But anyways, any of you house cleaners out there. But anyways, the important takeaway is not that we live in a dangerous world, okay? We're not trying to scare you. The important takeaway is understanding that our indoor environments are dynamic systems and that things are constantly entering, like I just explained, moving, settling, and interacting with the spaces where we live, work, and gather, okay? And in many ways, this growing understanding is what helps shape environmental hygiene and why environmental cleaning became so important over time. Okay, now, after that sporadic speech, is there any questions? I mean, do you guys get the idea of what it is? I mean, I probably talked too fast because I just have so much information. But anyways, do you guys have any questions though? I mean, do you have any questions about, what do you think of the whole topic of environmental hygiene? I mean, as a whole, do you see the importance?
Yeah, I see the importance. I'm not necessarily saying the difference between regular cleaning and the environmental aspect of it.
Oh, you mean the environment? Well, actually, cleaning is environmental. See, the cleaning services today, I'll elaborate. When you talk about environmental cleaning, it started in the hospital setting, okay? And then it was brought into professional, what we call professional house cleaning. Those practices are environmental cleaning, okay? And they just don't call it that. And that was what was used in hospitals, your top to bottom, left to right, that kind of thing, making sure that, you do the top first because stuff drops. So that's why you want to work your way down, then you want to go left to right, okay? And then there's structured processes of cleaning that you do, like when you wash your hands before you apply your gloves, for example, and then how you remove your gloves properly and that kind of stuff. When you change bathrooms, because you always want to change your gloves in between rooms because you don't want to cross-contaminate. So anyways, but that is environmental hygiene. There's a whole, it's a science, okay? And then environmental hygiene is whole room disinfection, okay? Whole room disinfection is like, our system is Breezy. We use Breezy Blue technology. It's a fogger, it's a bot that basically has 3 jets, and you can't be, nobody can be in here when I'm doing the process because it's aerosolized hydrogen peroxide. And what it does is I would put in the middle, and in seconds it will fog this whole place, just sort of like, if you had cockroaches and they go and they put a bomb in there in the olden days. Well, this bot does the same thing, okay? And I'm 1 in 4 in the United States that have this technology because the company itself was very skeptical because it's for hospitals. We're talking hospital grade. So I was very fortunate to be able to get in on this because he doesn't just throw it out to any cleaning service. I mean, we were in a group and we approached him and talked him into this. So I talked to him daily, and he wants us to prove that we can bring it into a residential setting before we can even think of marketing it to other people. So anyway, the long story short, what it does is it takes care of all the environment. It's a 6-log kill. 6 logs means that it will kill 99.999% of all the germs that are left over after cleaning. It's like I said in my hand hygiene example. If you're washing your hands and then you add that extra layer of protection with using Gojo's, Purell, that's the part that is environmental hygiene. Okay, environmental hygiene. Environmental is taking care of the environment, the whole environment. Cleaning is just one aspect of environmental hygiene. Just like when you take a shower, when you come home and you get all the bacteria off of you, same thing. And you're just doing it in this. There's many ways. They have electrostatic. This guy back here, Ben, who has the hub, he uses blue light. I try to talk to him. He doesn't want to know what it is, what I do. But anyways, his is limited because if there's a shadow, for example, like underneath, like mine will get underneath, behind everything else, whereas blue light is limited to shadows. It'll miss those spots, so you're not getting the whole environment. Ours does. It gets in the air vents, it gets in the ceilings, floors, everything without residue, without leaving any damage. It doesn't damage your electronics or anything because it's for hospitals, so they knew what they were doing. But anyway, that's the technology we use. But all you're doing is adding that extra layer of protection. And it is very important because even after cleaning, there could be some microorganisms left behind. And that's why environmental hygiene is necessary. They do it in hospitals. This is not something that I just made up. I mean, I'm just bringing their last line of defense into the marketplace. That's what I'm doing. And so there's a couple other cleaning services that have variations of what we do, but it's not nearly as effective as our technology because it's the newest one. And not only that, but we don't require man hours to do it. It's autonomous, which means you can just push a button and it does it on its own. And then you have a 10-minute dwell time. And then after that, you're free to enter the space. I mean, it's that quick. And you can't have pets, people, or anything in the space, obviously, because it's an irritant. So if you're spraying it and somebody walks into it, they're going to go, oh my God, because they're going to have burning eyes and burning lungs and everything else. It won't kill you, but it'll be very, very uncomfortable.
What about plants?
Huh?
What about plants?
Pets and plants, no, it doesn't hurt plants. But it will hurt pets, and I know because I asked about that. No, plants are unaffected for some reason, but humans and pets, you don't want them around. Because we're not trying, the treatment, okay, a 2,500 square foot house takes 10 minutes, the whole house. These are in seconds. Like this space right here could take 60 seconds and it's done. I mean, it gets everything. You just leave it in there for 60 seconds, and it will get everything in this room, books, everything. If someone touched your book, well, those germs are gone. That's what it is. That's why I'm so passionate about this subject, because when I heard about this, I go, wow, this is really a good thing. Especially since COVID, we want to keep our environment safe. Our homes are supposed to be our haven. And here we are, we're not even paying attention to the last line of defense. It's just like you're doing everything but this one step, which is a crucial step. It's the final step in the cleaning world, okay, that they weren't doing before COVID. So, but like Sterimus, Heavenly Touch maids, they do Sterimus. Now I asked about that, and what it is, it's a big machine. See, that's the thing. It's like having Stanley Seymour come in here with a big, huge hose, sticking it in a thing, and, you know, it's just, and you have to wear a hazmat suit, you actually have to be trained to do this material, this equipment. Ours, no training, or at least not like what these people are. You don't have to be certified to use it. So it's very simple. So, but anyways, other than that, now do you understand?
Yeah, a little more.
Because,
So what
okay.
comes out of the machine, it just kills it by touching it, or where does it go? How's it?
Well, what it does is it fogs out. Okay, the fog will permeate the room. Just think of you had a like a rubber room, okay, and you put this thing and you point it into the center of it, and it went. It's like coating everything. Meaning with the
And it doesn't leave like a residue?
Nope, it's a dry fog.
But like if there's a germ on a book, by that fog touching it, it kills it.
Yes.
How does it do that, or what's in
It kills
the
it because
machine?
it's the aerosolized hydrogen peroxide that does it, and it has there's like colloidal silver in it. That's why it's so expensive. The solution, 4 jugs of it cost $360. I mean, it's not cheap, and that's so I have to be sparing. But we have like we have this. It looks like a cell phone. It's like everything's pre-programmed in there, and you can choose the size of room size. That's the way they did it, and then you can just push it. Like, if you're gonna do an ambulance, for example, you can point it to the ambulance and then just fog it. It takes not even 30 seconds. I think it's 15 seconds is what it said on my thing. And then when it's done, you close the door, leave it for 10 minutes, and it's ready to go for the next patient to go. But that's what it does. Yeah. It's the, anything else? But you're getting the picture. I mean, it's really a good technology. Well, actually, weekly or bi-weekly treatments are good. Okay, you could do it every other week is the minimum. Monthly, forget it. It's not going to be effective. That's why I said weekly or bi-weekly treatments. And usually, what Jenny Mae does is we add it on. It's like an add-on because we're already cleaning your house. And if you want to do the extra layer of protection, it's $75. I mean, that's really a good deal for it because considering the expense, but if you're already getting it done, it just doesn't take that long to do. Really, a house 10 minutes. I mean, you know, but it's standalone. It's like $250 if you had to do the whole house. But just for that, and they have their own cleaning service or something, you know, to come in and right after they do it, whether it's your business or so. Okay. So anything else? Do you have a question? No more questions. Do you have a question? Okay, so everybody knows what environmental hygiene is. So what is it? Let me ask you a question. What do you perceive environmental hygiene is after what I just blah 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 blah? I mean, what I just spewed out of my mouth. I mean, what do you think it is? Your
The extra
definition.
layer.
So the extra layer of protection. Okay.
Yeah, same thing, I mean, yeah.
Okay. So another question is, would this be of interest to you as far as like, just say if you had access to it, would it be something you'd be interested in? I mean, in the future, not now, but maybe in the future sometime. I mean, not that I'm selling anything, I'm just asking in generalities, because this isn't a sales pitch. This is just an information thing.
So the point of this is just to help
Just to-
prevent spreading of germs.
Exactly. To keep you and your family healthier. Because not only if you eat well, which you should, but your environment now, you live in that environment. Like just say, especially in wintertime when you're closed up and everything, you're breathing in the same air and stuff. This is really a great service to reset your whole environment. Actually, you could do it quarterly just for that reason, because our seasons change. Now that's the only exception to my earlier thing, saying weekly or bi-weekly. What I was referring to is if you have me as a cleaning service, we're going to either do you weekly or bi-weekly, because it is part of our service. We don't give you an option. Now, if a person from outside who does not have me as a cleaning service wants to do it as a standalone, it's going to be good. But what I'm saying, that's basically, I guess, what I said. Blah, blah, blah. So, but anyways, what did you think? Okay, you can turn it off now. Bye!
Thanks, Jen.